New Las Vegas Raider owner Tom Brady faces the following restrictions now as a broadcaster who, is doing the game of the week for Fox. These is a list of the things he cannot do now that he is essentially an owner of a team, a part of a franchise. Mike, you haven't heard this, have you?
No, and we were prepping, and you're like, Riz, you want to hear? I'm like, let's just save it for the show. Let's just save it live for the show. Lay them on me.
Number one, he cannot criticize the refs or the other teams.
What?
Number one, he cannot criticize refs or the other teams.
How is that even going to be possible? I mean, all right, referees, fine. All right, you could do a broadcast without being critical on the official, but criticize the other teams. What? What?
Stupid. That's a dumb. I even disagree with the refs.
Job.
I think there's a reason that Troy Aikman is the best color analyst there is, because he's the only one that's actually critical of the officiating.
But Colin, you could get away with it. You can't get away with not criticizing other teams.
Very strange. How do you police that?
How do you police that? And so what? You're just going to have your pom-poms out? Oh, it was a pick six for the Panthers, but they're trying. What? No, it was a miserable throw.
Part of the reason you want to see Brady in there is because Brady is ultra critical, especially of the quarterback position.
Correct.
Stupidest thing.
Correct.
Number two, this is probably not a surprise. Generally, I guess broadcasters were allowed to, but he's not allowed to gamble.
Yeah.
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
No problem.
He's banned from the other team's facilities.
So, let me get this straight. Colin, you're familiar with the business. When you're on a big-time broadcast crew like that, you go to the facility, you talk to the coach, you talk to the assistant coaches, you talk to the players. That's how you do your prep. So he's not going to be involved in these meetings? Are these meetings going to be outside of the...
He cannot watch practice, and he has no access to the broadcast production meetings. The broadcast production meetings are the single most important aspect of calling an NFL game. It is hours and hours of intricate prep into how you're going to segue stories, how are you going to include this, how you're going to leeway this answer, how are you going to include this part of the game, or are you going to plug this, you're going to plug that. It's basically the blueprint of how to do the broadcast. And the color it's just important for the color to be there as it is the play-by-play man.
So I'm assuming that Brady and I guess they're going to have to call these coaches, because usually you do these things in person and in the facilities. So, Colin, he can't do his job. With everything you're telling me, you can't do the job.
He's subject to the NFL's anti-tampering policy. I guess that's no surprise, but that also means you can't talk to players about free agency, contract years. You can't talk to them about trade requests. You can't talk to them about any of that. And those are stories that color guys bring up during the game.
Yeah. He's
you're set up to fail.
You are. And how angry is Fox? How angry is Fox that they're paying him all this money?
I don't know the rules with this. If anything, Brady would walk away. But I don't know. This is you're set up to fail with this. The Fox experiment with Tom Brady is not going to last. Not anymore. Not with him involved with the Raiders. Because Brady's going to be involved in drafting. Brady's going to be involved in player evaluation. He's going to be involved in coaching searches if it comes to it. Wooing free agents, he's going to be involved.
Yep.
How could you be an owner and a broadcaster at the same time? No owners belong in the booth. None of them.
Well, Jerry Jones thinks he does, but outside of his radio show. I'm with you, Colin. He can't do his job.
Well,
with everything you just told me, that's what a color commentator is supposed to do. You're supposed to be critical of the other team. You're supposed to do your prep work. Now, I know a couple of people in the business don't necessarily do their prep work as color analysts. I think you know where I'm going with that. But you can't do the job. And I think he should just step down.
This is why Brady's a phony. Because Brady takes that contract, and it's, what is it, $300 million for 12 years or something like that?
Yep.
From Fox, the biggest broadcasting contract ever. And Brady happily signs it when he knows that he is, getting close to getting involved with the Las Vegas Raiders. This is stupid. This is the dumbest thing in the world. And now he's making $35 million a year. And I don't know how Fox is going to handle this. Are they going to, if this broadcast heavily suffers, it's going to be fascinating now to see how he calls his games.
It is, and that's why I told you I think Fox is kicking themselves in the shins. Like, what did we sign ourselves up for?
And Brady's
what
still
are
green.
These rules?
He's still new to this.
Yeah.
This is not like he's a seasoned pro and he knows how to dance around the lines. He's still trying to figure out how to call a game.
I'm shocked at rule number 2, you can't be critical to the other team.
They cannot criticize refs or other teams.
I don't know how you're supposed to do your job.
It's stupid. They should not be allowed to call the game. It should be a rule that no team affiliated, no person affiliated with a team at an actual organizational level should be involved in the calling of a game.
So he can't criticize other teams. When their quarterback throws an interception, oh, good try. He's not allowed to say it was a bad pass?
He's probably going to get some. I don't know the rules in terms of how much access he's going to get to the other teams, but he's going to get some. What if he has a Raider game and all of a sudden their opponent, he has access to stuff they're doing. He's not going to have all of it.
Right.
He's going to have certain access to it if you want to play fair. Tom Brady always played fair? No, he hasn't.
Deflategate?
Spygate? So this is a situation which it's advantageous in a lot of ways because Brady is getting access that a lot of other teams don't.
Maybe that's why the Raiders got him as an owner, man. They're going to give him the inside scoop. Going to give him the inside scoop on some of these teams.
Wow.
I think he should step down from broadcasting, Colin. I think he should figure out with Fox, hey, is there an out to this? But Fox had to know that he was probably going to be a owner of some, Colin, this has been a thing that's been going on since he's retired. Fox has had to know that this could possibly happen. I'm interested to see what the protocol is going to be now. I'm interested to see if this is going to work out because those rules you just told me, specifically the one I have a problem with, number 2, you can't be critical of other teams. I truly, I know I keep saying this, but I truly don't understand how he's going to do his job.
You can't capably do it. And
No.
I wonder now as a minority owner, he's going to have a lot of say because it's Tom Brady. Is he going to have, if he doesn't like Antonio Pierce, are they going to get out? Are they going to bring in somebody like Bill Belichick?
I don't think, is owner Davis that ridiculous to blow everything up because Tom Brady says so?
What are they doing right now? What are they doing right now?
I guess you're right. They went into the year knowing they didn't have a quarterback, though.
So,
right.
If there's no quarterback, you're going to have a top pick for a quarterback this year.
Not a quarterback draft,
and
by the way.
And if he doesn't like the coach and he doesn't think they can win with him, Brady knows coaches. And if he says, I'm not really in on this Antonio Pierce thing, nobody's gonna check Brady.
I don't think it helps Antonio Pierce play for the Giants too.
So if he wants to call Belichick will answer.
You think they're gonna hire Bill?
Maybe. People have been saying that.
Have Brady be owner and play caller. Have him call the plays and run the offense, and Bill just head coach and runs the defense.
Very, very stupid.
Yeah, we'll see.
This is why I can't take these broadcasters seriously. There's no broadcaster with integrity other than Troy Aikman.
You love Aikman.
I do like.
I think Aikman's great. Don't get me wrong.
Aikman and Buck are great, and I think you're noticing how important Buck was to baseball. To segue really quick, is because of how Joe Davis is fine. He's good. He's okay. Brian Anderson is also okay, pretty good. But nobody's as good as Buck was.
I like Buck a lot. And
Buck is great.
Growing up in the Midwest, people couldn't stand Buck. And I go, guys, you want to know why I like Joe Buck so much? When you hear his voice, you know you're in a big game. You're in a giant game when Joe Buck is on the call. Now, I know he does every Monday Night Football game now. But growing up, it was playoff baseball, playoff football. You're in a big game if Joe Buck.
Yeah, that's
Joe.
why Buck is great.
I know it's Joe Namath, more or less, but big-time Joe on the call, baby.
So this is going to be problematic now for the broadcasts. Because imagine being Greg Olsen. Imagine being Greg Olsen now. You did a pretty good job, probably upper-tier job in terms of the Fox play-by-play top color man, and all of a sudden Brady comes in getting paid 1,000 times more than you are, and is all of a sudden an owner too, and he can't do half the things that you need to do. You have to work harder than he does to get prepared for the games each and every week, and you're stuck, terribly stuck with a Panther, Washington Commander game in the 1 o'clock slate in Carolina while Brady's sitting there at a Cowboy game playing the Packers.
They throw you on the dread of the week.
That's terrible.
The toilet bowl matchup of the week. I liked Olsen a lot. I can't lie.
I didn't think he was as great as everybody said he was. but I thought Olsen was also good. It's hard to nail these broadcasters. It's hard to make sure that they're good. And I thought Brady was actually getting better, getting a little more critical. Brady's insight is second to none. He's better insight than anybody. He's a better player than every other one. Aikman was a good player. He was a Hall of Famer. Not a great player. He wasn't an upper tier all-time quarterback. So think about that. Brady has a ton of experience that he now all of a sudden it's hard for him to kind of share because you want him to share experience off of the negative things, and all of a sudden he can't comment on that.
Yeah, Bush League.
What is Kevin Burkhardt going to do? How are you going to throw to Brady? Throw to him how?
What do you think of that pass, Tom? Oh, he tried hard. Thanks, Tom.
Adding so many guardrails. I don't know.
And maybe like more or less like being critical of a team. Like maybe I'm reading too much into that, Colin. Maybe it's more like, hey, they made this trade and you're not allowed to comment on it. But you could comment on the field of play. Maybe it's more that route. But now if there's a bit like say the Buffalo, for instance, Colin, hypothetically speaking, let's say Brady's on the call for a Buffalo game. Buffalo just traded for Amari Cooper. Is Brady allowed to give his opinion on what he thinks of the Amari Cooper trade? He probably isn't. He's probably not allowed to talk about the trade.
Very strange.